Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen with a bit of a closer look at the next major patch for the Persistent Universe Alpha 3.7 as it stands on the roadmap currently, and some elements that may make it in that have previously and recently been discussed. Alpha 3.7 is the Q3 2019 release, so it's expected at the end of September. There is the possibility of some rescheduling of elements of this patch with additions and delays to some features, and as we've previously seen, the end of September date for release is not a hard release date, although CIG do want to try and keep them where possible. They are trying to make them hard dates, but obviously 3.6 was not sort of kept within that time frame. We should see Evocati and early PTU of 3.7 probably mid-September as well, so bear that in mind. Physical inventories are probably the largest change to 3.7 in my opinion. This is the implementation of a localized inventory system with persistence and limitations to it. There's no more magic bags of holding. Weapons and armor and items have to be stored in habs or in ships and then switched into when you want to change your gear. You have attachment points on your armor and your clothing and that sort of stuff to carry things around. You'll have some form of boxes and you'll be able to use weapon racks and wardrobes on ships. This form of inventory restriction could allow for better looting as well. The rest stop space station exteriors are getting interior updates as well to them. So they're expanding the interior modules and archetype libraries to achieve wider diversity for the interiors of space stations, allowing and adding new rooms, new layouts, new visuals, new archetypes, and then marrying them with the internals and externals together. So expect to see large atriums, hab areas, engineering sections, and more. They need places for the sort of like NPCs that are working there to be able to hang out, so that's their habs. They need engineering areas so that they can have physicalized components there. The power system for ships and vehicles, and eventually stations and structures, is expanding as well here to provide systemic connected gameplay in environments and vehicles, including connecting the doors, lights, and lift systems to power, and then dealing with the impacts of EMPs appropriately. It's just adding more gameplay to that power system and is the prerequisite for physicalized components, which are also being worked on but aren't planned for 3.7. They are adding some additions to PvP bounty gameplay to allow players to hunt other players with bounties on their heads. So we already have this in game, don't we? Well, we do, but I do believe that it's going to be deeper missions related to that, and the ability probably to put bounties on players' heads. This also comes along with bounty mission improvements allowing hunted NPCs to use quantum travel to evade players, and then I suspect to have the player then hunt them down and track them down further. The Banu Defender is a long-awaited ship for the game and has been long delayed. It lands in 3.7 though, at least we hope. The ship has seen much more of a developed pipeline due to its delays. It's going to be the gold standard for the Banu race once it's in and used to help build the Banu Merchantman and any other Banu ships that CIG have planned for the future. It's a long-range escort fighter with alien weapons and tech, and it's supposed to have some additional synergy with the Merchantman that's yet to be confirmed what synergy that's going to have. We've already had its weapons in-game for a while now, the Singed Tachyon beams, which are sort of like hit scan lasers. Very weird, but it's alien, you know. A massive part of Alpha 3.7 is its AI updates, which touch all areas of the game. There are social AI updates with shopkeepers, vendors, bartenders, and civilians all getting additional animations, behaviors, and interactivity with both players and NPCs, other NPCs that they're serving, or just like talking to, moving around to. We're going to see new voice lines, stuff like that. We know, for example, CIG have also mocapped extra stuff for bartenders, for them like mixing different drinks and serving customers. So we expect to see a lot of improvements across social AI. They are adding the ability for combat AI to engage the player using a wider variety of weaponry and loadouts as well. They're going to be reacting dynamically to player behaviors and the environment and engage strategically and realistically. NPCs will more appropriately use cover as well, and they've got animations to suit different situations. This is going to further expand the tactic selection for these NPCs. They're going to analyze the environment and work out what their mates and any allies are doing, and in absence of full cover, they're going to work out how best to engage enemies without fully exposing themselves. So there's going to be like things that are deemed as partial cover, and they're going to run across to other cover and things like that. This includes objects such as small crates being used to provide partial cover, other things like that. For ship AI, there are updates to the 3D pathfinding systems, allowing AI to better navigate in 3D space by utilizing physics grids. The pathing is going to be hierarchical there, and it's going to use other factors like physical data and graph connection of sort of quantum travel points, where they know quantum travel points and major locations are. The system will scale to the size of the universe and accommodate all content eventually, including asteroid fields, planets, and space stations. So smarter AI, basically, that are able to navigate the environments more dynamically. And that's been much needed for a while, especially since the new flight model. Also, there's balance of defensive maneuvers that gunship pilots will be using. They will change these based on if they're being shot at in particular areas, so they'll try and move around to minimize damage to the actual hull of their ship and potentially shields as well. And they'll also try to train all their guns on appropriate targets. There's a lot of other AI bits that they've been working on that aren't necessarily listed on the roadmap or are parts and modules of other bits, some of which may make it into 3.7 in some form, like AI reacting more to sounds and searching sort of was mentioned, but it's first reactions of AI. They are going to try and go, oh, did I hear something over there? Or did I hear a guy go down? Or did I hear a gunshot? There's going to be fire discipline of gunners and enemy prioritization, self-preservation, covering allies, and they've even updated AI security for missions and interdiction events recently, so some of that stuff should be in 3.7 as well. Something I think that's actually a massive improvement coming with 3.7 is ongoing improvements to procedural and planetary tech. So there are updates to procedural asteroids, large-scale shadows, ground fog, atmospheric tech. That's all seen a lot of work over the last few weeks and was mentioned quite a bit in the monthly reports. Procedural asteroid tech determines the shape, distribution, and appearance of asteroid fields, and this is being updated, and they're adding volumetric fog elements, minor entities, and ring patterns to this. We should see more interesting points of interest, and the asteroid fields around Yella should look a lot better too. Planetary ground fog will create varying layers of fog on top of planetary terrain to further intensify local ambience and create a sense of visual depth. Shadow-wise, we're going to see improvements to multiple large-scale shadow maps as opposed to single large-scale shadow maps. So this includes support for large-scale shadows to be used for huge capital ships and stuff like that. There is also large-scale terrain shadows which they're adding. This is going to significantly increase the range over which shadows from terrain can be cast and help with more realistic shadows. With atmospheric tech, there's improvements to reduce certain artifacting, but also the incorporation of density layers to capture effects like ozone at high altitudes. All of this together should make for a better looking game, but also it should help with general performance. All of these updates should be more resource efficient, and they are sort of implementing these new features and techniques with resource budgets in mind. We also have a bundle of other features planned for 3.7 on the roadmap. The character customization system's getting some updates, adding new iterations on facial blending systems and significant updates to the user interface. I think we're getting some new faces in there as well, and new features. We should have some more function in creating characters and a whole UI looking sort of like better, I suppose. There are death animation improvements combining updated ragdoll properties with the animation system to make death reactions of players and NPCs more realistic by blending death animations with physical ragdoll simulation. Something exciting to some is the addition of bounty hunter armor sets that both players will be able to purchase in-game, but also NPCs will be wearing. These aren't as anarchic as shipjacker armors, but they are very cool nonetheless in the concepts we've seen of them anyway. There's fuel scooping being added to the game in sort of like more detail. So this is going to be looking at how hydrogen intakes regenerate fuel, taking into account environmental density and flight vectors when formulating the regeneration amount for your ship when it comes to hydrogen fuel. This is a step towards making fuel more important in-game, and will eventually see updates allowing for ship-to-ship refueling and mining and more info on how fuel mechanics are going to work and that sort of stuff, but it's just the fuel scooping improvements in 3.7 as far as I'm aware. Star Citizen is seeing a massive overhaul to its UIs and HUDs and screen interaction that's all coming in the future. 3.7 sees some of this, so we have glass visor HUD improvements to provide a more intuitive and immersive experience, as well as a repair, refuel, restock kiosk update, giving the service kiosks a more flexible interface for players looking to purchase services and maintenance, including all the things that you need to do on your ship as regular maintenance. I'd also expect to see more interactive screen updates like what we've seen with 3.6 and hacking, and getting more ship, getting the sort of updated Gladius HUD that we've seen in 3.6 as well. There's the Vanguard variants, the Harbinger, the Missile Torpedo variant, and the Sentinel E-Warfare variant that's coming to 3.7. We're also expecting new Vanguard nose-specific weapons that are purchasable in-game. These should be usable on any Vanguards on their nose mounts, but they are sort of like bespoke for the Vanguard series. The Drake Cutlass Red is the first medical ship that we have in-game, and that's coming with 3.7. We don't know if there's going to be any additional medical gameplay attached or many missions attached with it. I am hoping that they make medical ships, even the Cutlass Red and stuff, in the short term, respawn points for teammates, or something like that. That would be nice, but again, that's not confirmed for 3.7 by any means. There's a new ship weapon, the FL-33 laser cannon from Kronig. This is going to be a long-range, high-damage, reliable weapon, but slow firing. For the FPS side of things, there are some very unique weapons, well, explosive weapons, which actually I'm quite excited about. There's the Animus missile launcher, which looks to be pretty big, sort of railgun-sized. Missiles should have the ability to lock onto appropriate targets, and this gives infantry another weapon to help repel ships and vehicles other than just the railgun. There's also going to be the Bearing GP-33 grenade launcher, which looks like it might have a capacity of 5 to 8 grenades in its magazine. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just going by the little pictures that I've seen of it. Also, the HB Salvo frag pistol, which sounds to me a bit like a shotgun pistol. Hopefully it's better than the Mozambique in Apex Legends. Some other bits we know that CIG have been working on. Mission sharing is something that has been talked about for a long time, and will allow players to share missions while in a group, complete them together, and get rewarded together. CIG wants to convert current missions over for it and get new missions built with it in mind. Potentially we could see some systems for it in 3.7. I think that is the hope, though it's more likely potentially being worked on for implementation with 3.8 and the dynamic mission system that they're trying to put in for then. There's also going to be various improvements to combat weapon balance and vehicle stats. We know that they want to implement a hover mode toggle, as well as put in general flight model improvements and tweaks. There will be general performance optimization passes, as well as various bugs and quality of life fixes, but as we've all seen in the past, new and interesting bugs appear with new features that they add into the game as well. Though not expected in 3.7, server-side object container streaming and full persistence are being worked on currently, and have had various internal tests which have apparently been successful. There are various server and code improvements that they are putting in. Whether these be under the hood or not, they could very well make it into 3.7. Some of those parts, some of those optimizations, some of those potential prerequisites of object container streaming server-side. There isn't a huge amount of complex updates and additions in 3.7 currently, really, other than potentially physical inventories, which is actually a pretty big thing in my opinion, but it's very possible that all of that will make it into 3.7. We may see some rescheduling, we may see some movement though, so bear that in mind. Hopefully they'll make the end of September date. There could be an interim patch after 3.7 launches as well, with potential features that haven't made it in for 3.7 to make it in. Also, we know that CitizenCon is almost certainly going to have an in-game event as well, so expect a mini patch in the 3.7 branch for that, and some additional straight-to-flyable vehicles and ships. Again, 3.7 may have some secret or some special things, including some straight-to-flyable vehicles and ships, so I'll update you once I know more on that. But please tell me what you think of the 3.7 patch. Do you think they can make the end of September sort of like a live release date? Do you think it's going to be delayed again? Do you think it will be like an every person PTU by the end of September rather than a live release? Do you think CIG might aggressively cull features to try and make a live release. Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Every month we have a giveaway. For August, we are giving away a Drake Corsair bundled with an 8-inch Fire tablet and 12 months of Game Glass. Game Glass makes software allowing you to turn touchscreen devices, like tablets and mobiles, into immersive controllers for Star Citizen. But not just Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous is getting support next, and there's plans for lots more games to support this. You can use Game Glass for free, but there are paid options as well, giving you even more functionality. Please follow the links down below to get more info or to download. I'm still also shilling for NordVPN. If you're looking for a VPN, they are very cheap and have many benefits over free services. They help protect you and your privacy online, but it also makes it easier to access various websites as well. And there's Shadow 2, giving you remote access to a Windows 10 gaming PC of your very own so that you can effectively turn any appropriate device, your smartphone, a computer, a laptop, whatever, into this much more beefy machine. Subscription cloud services, in my opinion, are the way forward, and for some are going to be very appealing instead of sort of maintaining their own PC. For all of those, please follow the links below or use the code BoredGamer to get a discount. A massive thank you for watching. Please consider liking and sharing this content as well as pressing the bell icon to get informed when a video goes live. Consider Patreon or becoming a YouTube member too if you'd like to further support the channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Please take care, and I'll see you in the verse.